Welcome to the Echo Sportscast, episode number 26, March Break edition. I'm Paul McLean, flying solo while Dave continues on a well-deserved vacation. With March break being on and the kids out of school, we were going to take a little break and look at some different sports. And today, we'll focus on the Can-Nip Men's Basketball League, who end their regular season tonight. And we've got some interviews with the people who make the league run as well. We'll touch on some of the history of the league as well. Today's Spotlight interview also has a different look, an ice shack conversation with some beers and no fish between Scott Clark and I as we kind of discuss North Bay sports and the youth sports scene and the growth of sport tourism. It's a conversation all over the place, as you might expect when Scott and I talk, but I think there's a lot of good points in there, and it's great just having that conversation. We'll get to that, but first, a word from our title sponsor, Source for Sports.
Sports aren't just what we do, they're who we are. Source for Sports North Bay is your advocate, your local support system, and your biggest fan. 1321 Fisher Street has grown from a place where knowledgeable experts can help you find exactly the gear you need, to the hotbed of team uniforms, apparel and fanwear, to a community stronghold for all the things that truly matter to you and your family's sports journey. We love helping you find your first pair of skates, as much as we relish supporting local leagues, teams, and athletes. Wherever your sports journey takes you, make sure you visit Source for Sports North Bay at 1321 Fisher Street so we can help you along your way.
The Can-Nip City Basketball League comes to a close this evening, and the final standings will end with DeMarco Lucenti in first place with a 14-1 record, the green team 13-2, the blue team 9-6, Combined Forces Ballers 5-10, Dark Horse Comics 4-11, and the North Bay United 0-15. The first round matchups will begin Sunday, March 15th. At 6:30 p.m., the blue team will play the North Bay United, and at 7:45, the Combined Forces Ballers against Dark Horse Comics. The first and second place teams get a bye. So up next, we're going to have Dave's conversation with Mike Duppel, league spokesman and member of the DeMarco Lucenti team.
Tell me about the big win here and what that means for your team.
Yeah, I mean, this is feeling like the big time. We're got the national TV deal here now.
So you guys are 13-1 going into this?
God, I mean, math is hard after a game like that. We had not very many subs, so you're asking me some tricky questions, but I think it was 13-1.
Tell me about some of the players on your team that just a good about crowd and about the league.
Yeah, no worries. Well, we're the DeMarco Lucenti's team. So we've been in this league for many, many years. This team's been in this league long before my time as well. A bunch of local talent, and you got about 10 former CIS players, you got some old pro players. Really just hoping that the league continues to grow and we can inject some more youth in it, because we just keep getting older, and eventually we need some guys to come and take over. So this year I think we had 6 teams. Hopefully we can expand that as more people find out about it. And then I think it's everybody makes playoffs. First 2 teams get a bye, and then it'll be semifinals. One got a couple good teams fighting for spots here right now, and then we'll see what happens in the playoffs.
For this game, you were at the foul line. You made some clutch shots. At one point, it was 69-69. So
Yeah, it was a good game. I hope you weren't rolling that whole time, because I missed about 40 free throws leading into it, but made the ones that mattered, and we got the win.
Next up, we'll hear from Jeff Richardson of the Dark Horse Comics team, and he's going to talk about the Ballers 3-on-3 tournament coming up March 29th and 30th. So this is a 3-on-3 tournament that's going to be held at Canadore. Second year for the event, and there's going to be lots of great teams coming from out of town. It's a really good, exciting basketball 3-on-3. Great new way of looking at basketball, something that is popping up more and more with some professional leagues and made its debut in the Olympics. So have a look at this, and if you've got a chance, be sure to check out their tournament.
So my name's Jeff Richardson, GEOFF-RICHARDSON, and I'm one of the organizers of the men's basketball 3-on-3 tournament that's happening at the end of March 29th and 30th. It's going to be up here at Canadore, so it's sanctioned by FIBA 3x3, so there's some really, really exciting rules. It's obviously three 3-on-3. Very exciting, very high speed. Last year we had over 500 people in the audience come join us. There's a men's elite division, which is going to happen Saturday. There's a dunk show as well, which is super cool. Noah Strong is helping us out for the weekend as well. They'll be here. You can learn all about Noah's story. And then on Sunday, we're going to have a men's rec league as well as a women's open division. So we're really, really hoping to have some great competition in the men's rec and women's, especially on Sunday. And there's actually a three-point contest then. We're giving away over $5,000 worth of prizes for the weekend. So we're super excited. We got a lot of sponsors helping us on board, and we would love to fill the stands with people from North Bay. So it's actually free to get in. We're going to have a little tip jar, hopefully, that we can put any proceeds that the public wants to donate to us for further tournaments, but otherwise everyone is free to come and enjoy.
Now you're here for the men's basketball league.
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm 45, but I'm still trying to run around with these young guys. They're pretty amazing, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Randy Reed has been the cornerstone of basketball in North Bay for decades, and I wouldn't be playing basketball right now if it wasn't for him. So big ups to him.
This weekend, I had a chance to catch up with Scott Clark as he invited me to his ice fishing hut to have a little conversation and a beer at Nipissing. So here's our chat, and we just kind of touch on a lot of things about, North Bay and the youth sports, the things I'm kind of experiencing as I travel around as a parent and what I see as a business owner in the sporting goods industry. So it's a great chat. It kind of goes all over the place, talks about a lot of things, and anytime Scott and I get together, it's always an interesting conversation. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope everyone has a great March break, and we look forward to seeing you back after the break. And Dave and I will be back with more guests and more information as the NDA hits the spring season. With me today in the hut, it's his hut, Scott Clark, and we're here today to
Paulie.
How's it going?
Good. It's great to have you here. Okay, so we're going to get in and talk about sports, which you and Dave do a great show. And by the way, we're just looking at the numbers. Your numbers are doing great. Okay. And every month over month, they keep growing. And then if there's one, I would say, podcast that has the potential of exploding, you get these clips that you guys do online that people run with. So I'm really curious to see as you get into the latter part of the sports season in high school, where all of that goes. That's exciting.
Yeah, I think that as we're still feeling out the format, I think, and the best way to deliver the message that we're doing, but the response has been amazing. And it's driven by the parents of the kids. I think really gaining that focus, and it's great because people are watching and learning about other people and the different, sports avenues and stuff in town. And I think the stuff that's being shared is amazing. And I'm really enjoying, we're still learning how to grab that content that the kids are creating, which is what we wanted. I think we want that sort of make it their show as much as anything so that we can get that stuff out, because people just don't have that chance to see, it gets shared on Facebook or something happens and they show it. But I think people just want to be able to be proud of everything that their kids are doing and share it and learn.
So one of the since this is a sports show, and Dave, who knows where Dave is? I'm sure he's in Costa Rica or something. Dave travels the world. He likes to nude sunbathe wherever he can. And so he couldn't make it for the Ice Hut edition. So we're here. Okay, here we go. $20, first fish. All right.
Okay.
Get your rod. Okay. Now you told me you don't do a lot of ice fishing.
I do not.
Ice fishing, or
I've been out, I think once. I don't even know if I've actually been in a hut. So
okay.
So I've been on the ice.
Wait.
Okay. What do we do?
Well, you have to get the minnow on.
Yes. Okay.
Or else I will absolutely win this without.
Yeah.
Do you know how to put a minnow on?
Well, I haven't put a minnow on, but I put worms on for my kids. It's not my favorite thing, but
okay. Well, I'm going to show you how to put the minnow on since we're doing this, right? So it's fairly easy.
Okay.
All right. So, nicely chilled water. Dig in there and grab yourself a minnow.
Okay.
If you can't catch a minnow, you're going to suck at this competition.
I'm going to really be back. There we go.
There you got one. Okay, I'll show you.
You got one on the line.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. See that? Okay.
Okay.
Let me get one. Okay. Oh my, that's chilly water. Okay, let's get a live minnow. Who's our minnow sponsor, Ben? Billy Bob's? Billy Bob's is where Billy Bob's. All right. So what you want to do is you want to get it. So you want to put the hook. Watch this. So you put the hook through the mouth and then up through the the melon.
Okay.
Right? So I don't have my glasses in, so you're younger than me.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get it in his mouth. He'll open it up.
Oh, that poor
He'll
guy.
open
He's
it up.
excited for
I
it
know.
too. He thinks it's
He'll
food.
open it up. But I got to get my glasses on. There it is. So you open his mouth, right?
Yeah.
You go in, and then you go up through the melon. Boom.
Okay.
Right? And then he's on.
And then he's on. And
He's still doing his thing.
he's
All right?
yeah. Okay.
So
Let's see how we can
through the mouth, then up through the melon, right in the center.
There we go.
Yeah, put it in his mouth. You're putting it in the lower jaw.
He was being.
Put it in the mouth
Okay, come on.
so he can.
Yours seemed hungrier for the hook.
Well, he'll open
Okay,
it.
there we go.
He'll open it. There you go.
He doesn't seem
up through the
happy
melon.
about this.
Well, generally, when you put a spear through someone's melon,
What is falling off on my hands here?
there we
There
go,
we
buddy.
go.
You're in.
Okay.
All right, let's get it in the hole. So, what you want to do now? And I can't wait to be corrected. Oh, see, we got a little ice build up there. It's pretty cold out there. Good wind blowing. We got about at least 3 feet ice there. So you want to release it, right? Let it go all the way to the bottom. We're about, I think, 16 feet. I think like 20, 22 feet's a way better, like deep water points where they're catching all the beauties, right? And as soon as you hit the bottom, right? Have you hit bottom? Did you let it go all?
I let it go.
So lift that up. No, you. Okay, no, you got it. So go here, right, and then let the line out. Let it go all the way to the bottom.
There we go.
Okay, then bring it up from the bottom, just a bit, right? I said, reel it in. You're like a real angler, Paulie.
yeah.
Look at you, Paulie. Look at you. Well, we got it captured, and then you simply just jig.
Okay.
Right? Just up and down, and we talk. You want a beer, or are you good? You want a beer?
Oh, I would love a beer.
Can we get a beer? Because we're ice fishing, and
That seems appropriate. Yeah.
yeah, we'll have a little beverage. We're going to talk sports. This is your show. Sorry, I get very
No,
aggressive.
I think
My
you-
hut, your show. It's a zipper. You know, how to work a
seems-
zipper?
It's very well sealed. That tells you that's how it keeps the cold in.
Oh my gosh, Ben, you don't know how to use a zipper? Oh, there we go. So I got like a Banquet. I got a Coors Light. I got
What do you want?
Banquet, please.
Banquet. Okay, I'll take a Banquet too, please. Should be a couple of Banquets there. That it looks the same as the one in your hand.
This is original.
Yeah, I don't know why they went ahead and changed the name. I used
Oh,
to
did they
love-
change the name?
I used to love drinking Coors Original.
It says Coors Original, not Coors Banquet for the record.
So
It was called Banquet before, though.
So
right?
it was called Coors Original, and they gave it the name Banquet because no one would drink Coors. Like, I was drinking this in high school, like when everyone else was drinking Coors Light. I don't know why, but we would do. And then
Cheers, buddy. Welcome to the hut.
Thanks for having me. And then they started calling it, and then they switched it. Delicious beer.
Yeah. This is one when I go to the battalion games. So it's Coors Original, not Coors Banquet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also like Miller Lite. I think it's
Yeah.
It's
I thought you'd be an ultra drinker.
no, I don't ultra.
You're all skinny. I remember Fat Paul.
Fat
You
Paul?
have a fat beer? Now I'm
Yes.
thinking you're skinny Paul now.
I think I was drinking too much of that Blue Moon beer too, the wheat beer. It goes down good.
It's
doesn't
delicious.
last
It
after
is wheat
that.
beer.
So
So we're going to talk sports. First of all, what's hot in the sports scene right now? So now we're recording this.
Yeah.
Probably when people are seeing it, it's probably fishing season's over. I want you to know that we're within. As I drink a beer out on the ice.
Yeah.
Now we're not outside. If we're outside, that's bad.
it's it looks a little windy and blowy. It's beautiful. So I went for a hike today, or a little walk, and the blue sky is like, this is why I love North Bay. Like, it's unbelievable, like bright and sunny. Just this is beautiful.
Let me ask you this, because you're involved in so many things in sports. And let me say first,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you. I know you have your own show, but I really appreciate your company supporting what we're doing here and doing these types of shows. So thank you for that.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And what is it like for when teams come here and different sports people? Is this a place where they go, it's just a small town, and or do they say this would be a great place?
I think there's some of that, and I think we need to do more to encourage it, because there are so many great things, but I think there's some stuff along the way that makes it hard when people get here. I also don't think we promote ourselves enough. I think we need to maybe pound our chest a little bit more and be proud of these beautiful lakes that we're on. And, we don't spend our entire existence driving across town for 2 hours in traffic and things like that. We can be anywhere in such a short amount of time. Like, I spend so much time on the road, and we're heading south for hockey, or it'll be soccer and baseball in the summer. But it's such an easy drive on that highway. Like, even this winter, like, very limited snow problems or anything. I think we've canceled one game of my 3 kids. Like, so it's accessible. It's near lots of things. It does have that small town vibe. We've got great things once we have people here, but I think we need to also work together a little bit more. I feel like we've got all these different associations, organizations, all operating in their own silos and not really talking to each other.
So great, let's say hockey players. They're great hockey players. They're renowned from Northern Ontario and development in that. Why couldn't a smaller community like ours be a great place to develop people in sports? Like, and it doesn't have to be just hockey, right? Like, take for instance, canoeing, like the canoe club. We've produced, and I don't have the stats on it, but in my lifetime, like almost 10 or more Olympians who have medaled in the Summer Olympics out of the North Bay Canoe Club. Why isn't North Bay a place where I would say more elite athletes come here to train and evolve?
Again, just really broad strokes on some stuff, but I think that there are not enough people prepared. I think sports went on for so long with the kindness and generosity of volunteers. And you just had these massive volunteer organizations, outreach. The sports themselves were fairly simple to organize. They weren't as extravagant with as much travel, and everything kind of worked. And especially for those great hockey players that maybe came out of the North in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the fact of the weather and the extra time that they could have on ice. Now that kind of has changed because now rinks are available 12 months of the year in Toronto, so people are training as much or more. So now that little competitive advantage that we had up here has evaporated because we don't even really play on outdoor rinks that much. And the kids that would play on outdoor rinks are so over-scheduled doing all their other stuff that, it's great to go out, but they don't get a lot of time to be able to go out there because they're so busy. They're coming from school, or they're going to this activity, and sometimes they're kids that just want to wind down and play video games or watch YouTube. Like,
we had the opportunity to billet a couple of kids over the years with the battalion, and I've actually, in the first year, I was really surprised how. Now, these kids we had weren't school age, right? They had already graduated from high school, so I can't even imagine the school age kids, because these kids up in the morning, out for practice. Sometimes they come back for lunch, but often they go out with their buddies and have lunch. But they come back for lunch, then back out again, another practice, home, dinner, and then there's a curfew. They have to get to bed. And then by Thursday, they're either on the road or they're in town. But they are. I had no idea how busy it is. And my son played house league hockey, never rep. So, like, the cost, the time, it's so much, the burden of a family.
It is. And I've been watching, I think there's a real separation between what it takes, and I don't mean you got to be that guy or that girl that's got to have the commitment. Like, it's not just commitment. It's not just a love of the sport now. It's having parents who have support systems, whether it's their like grandparents are more involved now than ever, to be able to make these schedules work. The financial commitment, like the guys that are coming in for the battalion or anywhere in the OHL, like, just look at the cars these kids are driving. Like they're coming from affluent families, because the unfortunate reality is, like, the amount of training, the amount of time, the amount of flexibility that the parents need to have. Like, this is just not an average income anymore.
Would you? I'm going to say hockey, but I would think this is almost like any sport. Like, it's become, to get to the highest levels, it's elitist almost in every sport. I know a big push that we've watched over the years from
you met Bauer, CCM, True, Warrior, all the hockey companies, we need to grow the game because they recognize like the cost factor of it. And, but unfortunately, I don't know that they always recognize the cost factor. It almost seems like we want to make the game more inclusive so that everyone feels accepted, so that regardless of your, race, nationality, ethnicity, gender, as long as you have money, we want you. We don't want you to feel excluded from that. That's sort of the unfortunate reality. And then I get to watch I had the chance to be at a house league hockey tournament this year, and I was blown away by the parents. And I say it like, again, it was a bit of an experience for me because I was maybe naive to think like, I don't want to think that way, but you do sometimes go, oh, it's house league, so they just want this, or they don't need that. And, it was the same conversations in the lobby about the parents, the ref doing this, or the coach not playing my kid enough, or, we almost had them, or that team beat this team, so we should beat them. And they had the speaker setups with the music, the parents have the hoodies and the hats, the kids have the tracksuits. And what really struck me was like, all these parents want is just for their kids to have the experience.
Yeah.
Like I think there is it's definitely grounded in reality. I don't think that they're sitting there with these NHL expectations, but they still don't want their kids to miss out. And I think so I've started looking at it almost like in two ways. It's like we need to ensure that those kids have the best opportunities and the chance to play, and we're making it a great experience for them. I also think you have to look at that elite level athlete and say, sometimes, with the soccer or hockey where we're trying to make it so that everybody has a fair chance to play and everybody learns at the right level. And, soccer tournaments, calling them jamborees and not actually keeping score. Meanwhile, the kids are keeping score. Like, they're not stupid. They know what the score is. So I don't know if, that or giving everybody the participation is really helping as much as we want it to. But I think we need to develop those sports and make sure that they have all the resources that they can have it and have a place where they can, just come and play. Like, we have fields open on the weekends, and I want to just see like real grassroots basic, like come out and pick up. Like, we'll just throw the sticks in the middle or, hand out pennies, and that's how we make teams.
And so does that even happen in North Bay anymore? Like, I remember growing up, and I grew up in Scarborough.
Yep.
But they used to be like at the back of our school, you would always have an outdoor rink.
Yep.
Right. It was just a board around it. And then that's how you went out and you learned how to play hockey, and you had those crappy old, black and brown skates. I'm way older than you. Yeah, I'm way older than you. And then you got your first pair of skates. You had to go to the skate exchange to get your skates and all that. Right. But do they even do that anymore, the kids locally?
I think it's kind of fallen off. I think there's
because organized sport has become so prevalent.
And then the model hasn't corrected itself and stayed up to date with things because it's still relying on these volunteers. And so now you're putting undue pressure on people who are volunteering with these incredible sky high expectations. Like, we should have this and we should do this and we should, okay, well, you should maybe come help these people too. Like, I'm too busy. Well, they're busy too. So I do think that there needs to be, maybe a restructuring of how some of this stuff is monetized and what people have to pay for.
So let me ask you this. It's interesting what you're saying, because really your business is centered around, kids playing sports and so all these things. So it's really interesting what you're saying about getting back to basics and getting kids playing shinny and, all that simple stuff. I know you and I have had discussions about, I'm assuming you'll make your most money from the elite kids and rep. And you and I have had these great conversations about how you're committed to making house league. The kids that play, I shouldn't say house league. Help me with it.
Local league.
Local league.
So that's baseball.
No, it's important.
But I want to have more. I really think it's an easy thing. It doesn't cost anything to just
give them a great experience, right? And then so it doesn't feel like they're tier 2 or whatever. Yeah. Like when I played, I didn't feel I was tier 2. I wanted to play hockey, just like all the other kids, right? And when I think of my son, I ended up coaching, and I don't know anything about hockey. And it was like that was one of my fearful moments. I went and did the course, right? And then at the end I say, okay, on the last day we bring in a peewee team or a little guy team, and you're going to have to coach them on the ice. I went, I can't skate.
Yeah.
I can't skate. It's like I haven't put skates on 20 years.
Yeah.
And so, anyhow, it was terrifying. But I did it. And my son still says to this day, you know, he's in his mid-20s now. And he says, those were some of the best times. We just got all the parents were good friends. We weren't out to, you know, win some cup or anything like that. Just kids to have a great time.
And those, like, I think that gets lost. Like, it's not when you know, yeah, you can win a tournament and that's great, but you can also go away to a tournament and, you know, just have a, you know, impromptu arm wrestling match break out between parents from opposing teams, and the kids are all in it, and and that's what, you know, those are the sort of the memories and stuff that they have. I mean, I remember one time with my daughter, like, got called 2 days before a tournament because a team had dropped out, and they're like, "Could you bring your team and come to our tournament in Aurelia in 2 days?" And I said, well, I need to talk to the parents. And I said, like, this is crazy. Bear with me. Hear this out. It's not going to cost us anything. It's you could drive there and back. Like, we have to play on Friday. I get it. No one would have booked this off work. I will drive. I had 6 girls in my car. We had another coach, had 3 girls in his, and we were jamming bags and everything. And we went down, and, you know, we had a great run. We had to borrow kids from other teams because we had kids that were hurt or had other commitments because it was so, and, you know, we went on a run and we lost in the finals, but I remember telling the girls, like, it's not whether we win or lose, you're going to remember. It's going to be just the insanity of this whole thing. We had a hotel that we thought was good, and then somebody found a bed bug, and we're scrambling at 1 o'clock in the morning, like, as everyone's like, that's it, I'm leaving, we're not going to be here. And those are the fun memories, the time in the car. That's what they're going to remember,
right? Yeah, the time in the car. I had, and I was so lucky. My assistant coach when I coached was Heath Marson.
Okay.
So for those of you, I know everybody probably knows Heath, but Heath was a rep coach at a high level for many years. And he says, I'm finished up coaching and that. I asked if he would be my assistant. And he says, okay. And so I supported him through his journey. But there was one of my favorite lessons that he taught me as a coach was practice, right? Mm-hmm. And first of all, I had no idea. I have to give a shout out to coaches, like the amount of work that goes into having a practice, you know, making sure it's fun, making sure they're learning things, making sure they're advancing. Like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I've done all of that, because I had a different respect for coaches when I sat across the ice, right?
Yeah.
But he said, why don't we invite some other teams? I go, well, why would we invite other teams? Because we're going to be playing them.
Yeah.
And he looks at me like, seriously? We're teaching them how to pass.
Yeah.
Like, they know how to pass. He says, there's no organized play.
We're not giving any secrets away.
There's no secrets. And then, but what he said was, these kids all go to school together. They're all the same age.
Yeah.
They all know each other. And they're here to play and just have a great time. When we did that, those kids had a ball.
Yeah.
They had a ball. They had a great time. And these are these memories where they all played. They went back to school together. And it wasn't. They're not like us, like adults, like where we grind them to be. You know, these. You know.
Yeah.
And he taught me so much about the thrill of playing, the thrill of how you put a good practice together and give the kids a great experience. And at the end, they all said that.
Yeah.
The only thing that was fascinating that I found, like, we were like, I'll call it the bad news bears, right? Because myself and the manager, when we picked the team, we basically picked them. We picked the team because we knew some of the kids, and we knew that they were really cool parents.
Yes.
And we'd all get along when we traveled, and we were a local team, so there wasn't a lot of travel.
Yeah.
And it turned out, and honestly, with Heath, just the basic things, like he would yell for defense, blue paint, blue paint, just go to the blue paint, right? Yeah. Blue paint, like just these simple things. But they picked up these simple things.
Yeah.
We actually made it all the way to the finals. And in the finals, we were leading the first 2 periods.
Yeah.
But as the team got better and we had more success and stuff, the parents changed ever so slightly.
Yeah.
And we were just a local team. I'll never forget, my one moment was, there was one of our defensemen came off, because you just cycle the kids through.
Yep.
You just cycle them through, and right? And then one of the kids came off, the defensive player, and he said, Coach, can I can I have a rest? I'm exhausted. I said, sure.
Yeah.
No problem. Have a rest.
Yeah.
Right. And I put, after the game, the parents came up to me and said, why are you benching the kid? I'm like,
He sport.
the kid. He's exhausted. He just wanted to rest.
Yeah.
I don't have this master plan, but I think it's interesting how the dynamics of everything, once you become a successful team or it gets competitive, it's a different ballgame altogether.
I think it's been eye-opening. It's competitive on all landscapes with and I always love to, I have a theory, I've never tested it, but I believe every parent probably notches their kid about 3 spots higher in terms of talent. Yeah. Everyone's guilty of it, myself included, because you spend so much time watching your kid. Mm-hmm. Your kid goes on the ice and it's like, look, or your kid's in the field, or you're, on the court. And so I think we have this tendency to also, your kids so you know their potential, right? Like, this is what they're working on and they're really good at this. And so it's easy to kind of get blinded by that sort of thing. But they're there to have fun. And I don't know, it's just such a enriching experience. And I hope, we slip up. I slip up too, where you get a little too, or you get in the car and then you're, trying to go over this and you should have done this. And sometimes it's like, just give them a hug. Just be I know that didn't work out the way you wanted it to. And
it's a balance, eh?
It's time to Toyota at North Bay Toyota. Attention truck lovers. Have you been Tundra struck? The powerful and dependable Toyota Tundra is the new definition of grit. Ask us about amazing lease deals on a 2025 Tundra Double Cap SR 4-wheel drive and experience ingenious levels of capability, technology, and refinement. Or maybe you're an SUV lover? Take advantage of a limited shipment of 2025 RAV4s and discover the perfect blend of style, comfort, and efficiency in a compact SUV that ignites your desire to explore. Right now, get excellent lease deals on the Toyota RAV4 LE all-wheel drive and more. It's time to Toyota at North Bay Toyota, 640 McEwen, or online at northbaytoyota.com for details.
So you said something earlier on about, which I'm fascinated about, because, and I know, living in a small town, sometimes people think you have ulterior motives for certain things when you just want to do things for the community to make things better. Mm-hmm. And you and your team took on, you said something about volunteerism, which it's incredible, right?
Yep.
There's a lot asked for volunteers and that. And now tell us a little bit about what you and your team are doing at Source for, allowing it's baseball, right?
So baseball.
Tell us what you're doing and why you're doing it.
So baseball kind of landed where I'd been. I got asked years ago if I would be the de facto equipment manager, which is putting a fox in the hen house. If it's kind of but please don't, and I'm like, well, I wouldn't. And I mean, we had a good relationship. I'm not going to abuse this, but it allowed us the opportunity because, what people don't know, we'll start ordering next year's baseball product in another couple months before we've even finished selling what we had this year. So when a typical baseball organization or a lot of sports, they would show up in May and be like, okay, we need this, 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 and this. It's like, okay, well, everybody sold out because that stuff shipped in January. We've been selling it, and North Bay was always late to the party because of when our fields would open. Now that's changed with the Dome, and that's fantastic. Yeah. So we're getting to experience that. But yeah, so that was sort of my introduction to baseball and being a part of kind of helping out. And as I watched successive presidents, hand over the reins to the next person when their children aged out and they'd put in their time, no one stepped up after the last one. Don Norman, reached out to the entire baseball, everyone that had signed up, which was 450 kids probably, those families. Ultimately, so when the email came out, I reached out to Don and I just said, I've got a bit of a, maybe a different idea here but I think we could run this as the store. I could use some of my paid staff on their time in the store to help administer and make the league run. And, you know, I think there was maybe a little apprehension of what he was going to hand it over to. And, you know, the Baseball Association was healthy. They'd, you know, been able to, you know, tuck away a little bit of money at the end of every year to sort of save it for, you know, the rainy day or when you've got to replace things. So he was, you know, very aware, and I appreciated everything he did to make that happen. Like, it was, they'd done great work. And so, but yeah, we just took it over, and I started looking at, like, I think the model is no longer asking all of these volunteers to give up so much of their time. I think there are volunteers that will be there to coach, but I think we can make their job easier by having things more set up and established for them.
Yeah, explain what that is. What is, like, when you say that?
But you said, you know, one of the, I've watched it in hockey for the longest time, as the parent steps up and, you know, I want to coach the hockey team, and, you know, they go through a big interview process, and, you know, all the parents aren't sure who the coach is going to be, and then this person is selected as the coach, and then it's like, go out and book your ice time, go pick your tournaments, decide what you want for tracksuits, get a manager, go to the bank, open a bank account. Like, there's a lot of things that, you know, I wanted to coach, but now you're both the manager and the finance guy, and you're running these little micro teams that have like $75,000 budgets. Like, they're not small operations anymore. Right. And, you know, everybody's off there trying to do their own thing and trying to figure it out. And it's like, if, you know, the more you can consolidate, the more you can find good people to do the work. Like, as I kept, you know, looking into something more, it kept opening up more opportunities and more ideas. And it was like, well, why don't we get the teams and associations to maybe talk together so that baseball doesn't have 12-year-old boys playing the same night that soccer has 12-year-old boys playing? Like, if we just scheduled them, then if a parent wanted, then, hey, let's play an extra, you know, they can do more. And that's just by talking. And then, do you need to have a marketing person or somebody that knows how to get sponsorship at every one of these clubs? And we have a great number of clubs and sports organizations in town. So that's a lot of people. And you and I both know, like, marketing is not an easy thing. It's fun, but, you know,
sometimes, but everybody's a marketer.
Exactly. And so it's like, how can we just better utilize the knowledge and the experience that we have? And, like, if I can do a little bit to help your league and you can do a little bit to help my league, then they're better.
So is it mainly what your team is doing, like, is really the paperwork in the background, like how things move? And
I think the other part is, like, it's more efficient. So if we had to, like, paying, you know, having a full-time staff member whose job it was to, you know, organize the schedule, answer the emails on time, make sure registration, you know, try to keep things up to date on schedules, booking things together. Paying that one person was more efficient than having 12 volunteers doing various levels of
quality of work. And it's just not that they're not good people, it's just figuring out, people are sometimes learning it. I'm the first time being a manager, and there isn't a manual that people generally get.
And that was all, like, it drove me crazy because it was always the newest. Like, you were sacrificing the fresh ones. Like, they were the ones that needed to be sheltered.
Right.
That rookie coach needs to be, like, brought under somebody's wing. And I mean, you had Heath, and, you know, I had Chris Olsen the year I was coaching. Like, you just learned so many things that you didn't know. But I think these associations will sometimes try to mentor coaches better, and then what happens is you let that coach get a three or 4 years of doing it on their own. Well, they're not going to change. Like, it's like, well, no, you left me alone and now you're asking me to do it your way. So for baseball, like, we've tried to just, you know, organize and corral. We sent coaches off to a coaching clinic in Toronto this year that was both a fun experience and brought a lot of value back, and we paid for it. Like, what did we do? Yeah, baseball registration creeps up every year. Why? Well, because we want to invest in our people, because investing in our people means it's going to be a better product for our kids.
Okay, so you generally, in your show, this show that I'm hijacking and interviewing you, I'm not the sports guy. Let's see if we can get controversial here. What's up with Dave Sad?
Dave Sad has forgotten more about running sports and recreation than most people will ever know in their life.
So Dave
I
might
want
be
that
watching.
On record.
Yeah.
Dave is.
I get along great with Dave, And I'm fascinated how people are passionate about Dave Satt. And it goes either way.
It is.
And it's like some people are, but he's passionate about baseball. Like
Yes.
we've been talking about, like he's committed to seeing that.
But it's even more than that. Like his passion for sports in North Bay and like how just doing things the right way. And unfortunately, I think he's a victim of like that entire infrastructure that he was a part of that, had proper committees to go out and seek and find, these sports tournaments and events to come here. Like that infrastructure has just continued to age and nothing backfilled it. I mean, we do a whole nother show, not sports, about what just happened to service clubs. Like, where did all these people go? I should be in one and I'm not.
Yeah,
like,
no, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
And I just don't know. But so I think Dave feels a lot of frustration about, and then like the amount of red tape and like just legal nonsense and insurance that's had to be applied to all of this stuff. When Dave was doing it and Sam Jacks was his boss, like it was like rules were meant to be bent. Like, what's best to get this thing off the ground.
Sam Jacks invented a sport in North Bay, like ringette.
Yeah.
Like who can do that today?
That's actually, I have to find a way to get Brian Jacks, Sam's son, who lives in Ottawa, is one of my sales reps, to come on our show.
He has to come on.
Because the stories he will tell about ringette, and like so Brian went to school at Penn, there's a difference between Penn State and Penn.
Oh, okay.
Back when, I don't want to discredit, this might be the most controversial thing I'll say. I don't want to discredit the guys that went down to the States for hockey in the 60s on a scholarship, but I feel like they were just pulling anyone, and you probably could have said you were your brother and gone. There was such an expansion, and they needed so many of these guys, and they were great hockey players, and they fit in. So Brian went to Penn, and he's just told some stories when we were out, trade shows and great just late night meals telling stories, and he was talking about how he was in Penn and the Flyers, Fred Shiro, had approached him. I don't really know how I think he was running some hockey schools for them or something, and they'd heard about this sport ringette, and they wanted to have it because they thought, what an opportunity to get females involved in the sport. And like, Brian's like, well, have I got a story for you?
Yeah.
And my dad invented ringette. And so that was, and he also has a really crazy Candace Bergen story, but that's
you have
for another time.
You have to get him on, only because I say my little thing, like invented here. I know Paul Cook was, he was an advocate. Like there's some incredible people that we're seeing more young women coming into hockey, traditional hockey.
Yeah.
But ringette was the time, that was how they were getting into traditional hockey. Now, when they had the World Ringette Championships here a number of years ago, I was involved in helping in a couple of things, but they asked me to MC the event, the opening ceremonies of the Capitol Center. Well, it was his mom that was Agnes. That's it.
Yep.
Agnes Jacks, and she was the ambassador for ringette. When she came out on stage, I've been to lots of events in lots of different places. She was a rock star with these young women.
Yeah,
like how she advocated for that sport, how she advocated for these young women. It was powerful to be in that room. People who play ringette and we actually helped when we were doing positioning statement. It truly is the fastest game on ice. When these people came from all over the world and watching like the Finland team, and it was fast. They was like just how the game is.
Yep.
It's so fast.
It opened my eyes to it. I also found out that people, they were taking tours. The teams were being brought to the house that.
Come on, to the Jack's house.
I don't even know where it is. But
I don't know either.
I say that now too. It's funny.
That's awesome.
I was in Brantford 2 weeks ago for a tournament, and it's the second time I've done it because I'm a nerd. I actually drove by Gretzky's house because, Walter Gretzky is everywhere, right?
The Walter Gretzky Arena, or the community complex is incredible.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's a topic for another day too. But of course, I'm there.
I've never done that.
20 years ago, they built this for $63 million. It's got 4 rinks, a pool, a gym. All this, again, I would challenge that to any of the naysayers who want to call it a Taj Mahal or Ice Palace or whatever. I'm like, you have to pay for it at some point, and it just pays infinitely when you can attract those people. There were 100 teams there from out of town, and just like that rink was jammed from 7 a.m. until 8 at night. Anyways.
You have a great show. Let me just say, this show is way better than my show.
Well, this is fun to get to talk about.
This is I like this. This feels like a podcast. This is way better. And you get to drink beer on your show.
I know. I think we need to drink. I'm still trying to figure out the identity of it. I'm like, well, we drink beer we drink a lot of beer on the road. I will even. I've said it. I think we may have possibly pushed some boundaries this year on one of my daughter's hockey teams. But
I've seen some videos of everybody dancing, having a great time.
Oh yes,
Very, very talented group. Very talented group.
But this, it's a lifestyle. It's parents are fully invested. Sometimes probably more invested than their kids. But you want to give that to your kids. Like I've been making the joke lately. I'm like, is there somewhere on weekends that there are people spending all of their resources and all of their time commitment on their children, hoping that they'll become a CEO of a company somewhere? Because that might be more valuable than what we're doing. But what we're doing is
that's funny.
It really is. I think school maybe is not that way of separating kids the way it used to be, because we're going to pass everybody and we need to, make sure everyone, sports still has that ability to, rank yourself. Yeah. And those ranking websites and this, it becomes your identity. You definitely probably sound strange to some of your coworkers that don't get it, but there's so much in it. And that's where I just think we just can't rely on that old model anymore. And I think we're like a lot of communities. It drives me nuts when I hear people say, "Oh, that's so North Bay." No, pick any town of 50,000 people in this country, and we have so many of the same problems. Yeah. What that means is it's not a North Bay problem. It could be a North Bay solution if we just get out in front of it, because other people aren't doing it.
Well, Paul, I want to say, as we wrap this up, I want to say thank you. Thank you to not only Source and what you do, but personally what you do, because I'm not like a sports guy like you so much. I love sport, but I see what you do, and I've seen you along the way do things that you crack a few eggs along the way, because you're trying to break a few different patterns so that we can move, and I think for the right reason. And being a business guy like you are, sometimes as business people, you don't want to crack those eggs, because it's like, I know it's the right thing to do and you can stand on the more high moral ground about the whole thing, but you have a business. Yeah. And when you're cracking eggs in the sports business, that's what do they call it? Testicular fortitude.
Well, I had these pillars when I opened the store of some stuff that I wasn't going to do. And one of them was I was never going to be a head coach, because if I was a head coach, I'd have to cut customers. And that was a terrible idea. I remember being asked to coach my daughter's team. And I basically threw that and a few other things out the window in about 45 seconds when I was like, yeah, I want to do this. And, and you know what? I cut. I had to make cuts. And I remember I've kept the emails that I sent the kids, because I felt awful. Some of them I had coached previously, knew their parents played hockey with them, and you really do. And the parents, the email back is like, why? I had my daughter ranked higher. Of course you did. We all do. That's normal. And, I've got this, crying daughter who just feels like she's been left behind. What do I do with this? And I was proud of it. I had a great story to share of being left off a team I'd grown up with, because our town merged with another town, and I was one of 2 goalies, and they had 2 goalies, so I didn't make the team, and I got put down to house league, and it was an awful experience in my mind. Yeah. It was crushing. It wasn't awful. It was, I made the best of it, but I never forgot it. I tell that story so regularly, and I just told those girls, make me regret this. Make me wish I didn't cut you. And I left it. I was proud of it. I was able to see those girls. I was able to look them and their parents in the face. I was able to bring. But yeah, it's awful. And when they don't get it, it's just a hard thing to understand. But it's also the growth. Like, I mean, that's one of the things that I kept from all these years. That's what drove me. I wasn't super talented to ever go anywhere, but I loved being a part of it, and I see what that means, and I think that gives me a good perspective on all of it that maybe sometimes those superstars don't necessarily know.
All right, wrap it up, Paulie.
All right, well, this will be another lots of room for another chat, but thank you for having me.
Please invite me back.
Please.
This is awesome.
If you come out here and I'm just standing here, because I could actually walk.
It's not bad.
It's really not that. I could actually
not that
walk
far.
from our house. I mean, that would be great. So
it looks closer than it is.
But no, thank you for the beer, and I kind of figured.
I know. I guess
I think it's
we'll have another challenge for another day.
But no, well, thank you for indulging me in this, and to everyone who's indulging me and watching me talk about sports. Thank you for another Echo Sportscast.
Yeah,
Ice Hut edition.
Ice Hut edition.
I think this needs to be, and maybe when Dave's away, this is what we do.
This is what we do.